This is the spell I did to kill my old self.
So I want to start this video out with a disclaimer because I don't want to be a clickbaiter. If you click this video looking for the spell I did, I'm not going to perform the spell and I'm not going to go into much detail about the spell in this video. What I will do is on Friday, I am going to upload a video showing the spell, how I did the spell, and everything like that. This is just about my experience, what led me to doing the spell, and the things that have been happening since I did it. So in 2020, I finally got my own place after years of instability, and I thought that, you know, this is something I've always wanted. If you come from a chaotic background, you know that this is something that's like very special to you. It might be more special to you than it is to other people because it gives you your own sense of freedom and your own sense of peace. So when I finally had that, I was like, okay, like that's awesome, but why do I still feel like this? Like, why do I still feel deeply unsettled? I think I thought when I moved into my own place that all of the trauma and the pain and the overthinking and the basically the residue from my past, I thought it would just be magically cured, or it would like magically go away because now I'm away from those people and I don't I don't have to deal with them anymore. But the problem was, I had to deal with the aftermath. I had to deal with myself and who I become in response to all of the things that I went through. And I did not like what I was feeling and what I was seeing. So later, I ended up facing more instability, and I ended up rekindling things with people from my past who I know that I had no business rekindling things with. I basically was doing that even though I knew I had outgrown those connections. I was doing it for like a sense of normalcy, to feel like everything is normal in my life again. And I didn't realize that I was doing that, but it was a bad thing, obviously. But I think I wasn't accepting the fact that I'm free now. I don't have to return to any of these people or these things. And I was still like, my subconscious was not ready to let go of all of that part of my life, basically. So during this time, I was still pretty isolated from people. Like, I had done enough of the work that I knew that I could not really be around these people long term. And when I would rekindle things with them, it would be very brief, like weeks to months, because it just felt so like, not that they sickened me, but it sickened me that I was back in this position, and that like I felt like I was reliving my old life as a person who had grown so much since then. Everything just felt like wrong. I felt like I was out of place in these places because I was. You know what? Some of these connections, they weren't people who necessarily like betrayed me or did anything wrong to me. I just feel like we were not in alignment. But with some of these other connections, these are people who had done horrible things to me, unforgivable things to me. The dynamic that I would come across a lot was people who would be in my face acting like they wanted to help me, and but their actions didn't match that, and then they would also, tell my business and go spread rumors about me and stuff like that. It was a lot of that kind of dynamic, and I couldn't understand why I kept coming across like these connections. Not to say that I never did anything wrong in any of these connections, but I truly feel the base of the connection had always been compromised. And when I feel like that, I feel like basically like it's up. Like I don't you're not my friend, and I see that now, and I'm not necessarily ready to let it go, but I don't trust you, and everything you're doing to me, I'm going to do it to you too, basically. So during this period of my life, though, I had really kind of let that part of me go, that tit for tat and that needing to get revenge or get back or satisfy my ego. I had really let go of that part of me because I realized how stupid it all was, and how it just further amplified that I was not the person that I thought I was. So I would always end up like disconnecting from these people eventually. And I think a part of me wanted to see like if they had changed how I had changed, and they really hadn't. And that's I want to make it clear in this video, while these people did wrong things to me, they did bad things to me, I don't
feel like they're beneath me or they're, less than me. I feel like there's certain things in life that some people settle for, and some people, they're not ready to take accountability because it's painful. It's painful to take accountability. But that's not my problem and that's not my issue. So that's why I later, disconnected from these people. But I think a part of me was trying to like go back to the old dynamic to kind of, I forget what it's called. When you experience situations sometimes, no matter how wrong they are, sometimes you'll grow up and try to recreate them because you want to kind of like settle the score in a way, or you want to even things out or give yourself like relief from what happened to you or the old dynamic. So I think it was like half and half. Like I was too scared to move on with my new life and let these people go, and I also felt like, maybe things can be different this time around, maybe the connection can be different this time around, but it ultimately did not end up being that way. So during this time, I'm going through like a lot of emotional numbness. I'm going through a lot of like spiritual bypassing. Like, I've gotten to the point where I realize that this is not the life I want for myself. These are not the connections I want for myself. But I'm too scared to fully go forward. Like, I'm not, I had a lot of business ideas I wanted to do. I wasn't executing them. I wasn't being fully present in my life. I wasn't being fully present as a parent because I was still like holding on to all of this pain and this anger and this rage I didn't even know that I felt. And it was making it worse because these people from my past who were around me, they were like trying to advise me about my life, and it was like infuriating me because I'm like, you don't even live your life in the way you claim to live your life. So how are you going to tell me like, you should believe in yourself more. You should do this with your kid even though my kid is scared to talk to me and things like that. Like, I just felt like the people I was around was completely wrong for me, but I was too much of a coward to let it go and go out into the unknown and explore what it's like to have a life without these people. So in 2024, I ended up meeting somebody who was very special to me, and we had a lot of chemistry and stuff like that, but I knew logically it was never going to work because of their deep mistreatment and eventual abuse of me. So the connection ended up ending because they did something to me that was extremely unforgivable and brutal. And I knew that something was also broken in me, just like this person I had chosen, because I still love them and I still wanted to be with them even after they did this to me. Left the connection, I felt like because I had the strength to leave, even though I wanted to for so long, I felt like I think I thought that meant I was over this person and that I wasn't still in love with this person and that I didn't still, idealize them in the connection. And for a year, I basically lied to myself and told myself, like, I'm over him. Um, I don't love this person. I don't care about this person. And I don't care about anybody from my past, actually. And I was doing cord cuttings, I was doing spiritual baths, I was doing a lot of different things to kind of clear all that away. And it's not to say that it didn't work, it 100% worked, but I feel like the problem was I wasn't acknowledging my deeper pain and the deeper pattern here. It was just like, I just want to get rid of my pain. I want to let go of all this. I want to release all this. I don't want to feel any of it. I don't want to think about it. And that was just another form of me spiritually bypassing. I didn't integrate any of the lessons I had learned. I wouldn't even admit to myself that I loved this person and that I wanted things to work out with this person. I wouldn't even admit that to myself. That's how angry I was and how enraged I was at the way that I was treated, and not just in this connection, but multiple connections from my past relating to my family and my friendships. So I kept doing my spells, I kept doing my baths, I was not doing a lot of reflecting, I was not doing a lot of journaling, but I was still having problems like say if I got a customer and things went really well, I still felt negative about it, and it was so weird to me. Like, I would meet somebody who seemed very different from the people from my past, and I would sabotage it because I'm like, no, like, I can't. Like, I'm just too. I didn't say it to myself out loud, but I thought to myself, like, I'm too damaged to accept this connection. I can't. So I would sabotage a lot of things that came into my life before they even had a chance to develop because I felt so unworthy and so, like, confused after everything I just went through. So not only was this affecting my heart, this was affecting my money, this was causing stagnation in my life because I couldn't face it. I didn't want to face it, and I wasn't ready to move forward. Not when it came to me no longer being delusional about these connections, I wasn't able to move forward with my anger and my denial of the truth to what this meant to me and what these other connections meant to me. I cannot make this video without talking about La Santísima Muerte, and I want to make it very clear to anybody who watches this video, anybody who subscribes to me, like anybody who purchases readings from me. I'm not one to ever push my faith onto you, and as a matter of fact, if you're not a devotee, I don't recommend you petitioning her, asking for favors. This is just what helped me, and I'm just sharing what helped me. So I feel like the first part of the process was me petitioning Santa Muerte, and I didn't petition her. This was something I did a few days ago. Like, this happened to me a year ago, but this isn't something that I just did a few days ago. So I was holding on to this all this time, and I've talked to Santísima before about this, and it's actually how I became a devotee of her. I had petitioned her many years ago, but she did not answer me, or I thought she didn't answer me, and I wasn't in a place to be a devotee of anyone because I couldn't even devote to myself. So, yeah, but I've been a devotee of her this entire time. I asked her to help me with the situation, but it was more so to remove, like, my immediate pain and attachment. I never asked her to, like, break my old habits, kill anything in my life that is causing stagnation. Like, I told her to eradicate anything in my life, not just other people, but anything within me, anything that I do. Like, show it to me, make it clear to me so I can remove it from my life, because I'm finally ready to move forward. Like, I'm ready to move on with my life. Started noticing things, like I was definitely on my phone a lot less. That was one of my things, like scrolling on my phone and distracting myself with my phone. I definitely was, like, more consistent in my working on my business and taking care of myself and taking care of my child, just being consistent with us, because before I used to bed rot a lot. I used to be too depressed to even get up sometimes. And this was before this connection and after this connection as well. And over the past year, I've definitely improved a lot, but I feel like I don't want to improve a lot. I want this to be my new normal. I want to wake up in the morning. I want to be productive. I want to feel like I want to be productive. I want to get things done. I want to be fully engaged with my child. I don't want to be, being physically here with my child, but my mind is wandering elsewhere. My mind is, clinging to the past and clinging to all of the things that had happened to me. So while I do feel my petition to La Santa Muerte helped me very greatly, I feel like what really, like, knocked the lid off of everything and helped me draw the patterns and connections was the second spell I did, which a petition to Santa Muerte. I offer her a candle and I offer her petition. I don't necessarily consider that a spell, though, because that is something that's entirely up to her. You can petition her for things, you can ask her for things, and if it's for your greater good, she will help you, yes, but she really wants you to do a lot of the work yourself. She wants you to be empowered. And I felt like what she did was good, but I needed to do something more because I still felt like, I don't know, like I felt emotionally stuck. Like, okay, I see how much this hurt me now, but where do I go from here? Like, what do I do to accept this and move on from this? I randomly, because nothing is random, I had this idea to do a spell basically to let love into my heart. And in true me fashion, I was late because there was a Libra full moon. I believe it was the full moon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the Libra full moon at the beginning of this month, and I was gonna do the spell on the day of, but I ended up being like, I ended up getting caught up with all the other stuff that I was doing, that I ended up doing it later, and I didn't really have a lot of time to prepare to like research and stuff. So I just wrote what was on my heart. Like, I just wrote down how I want to be, what I want. I just wanted to be able to accept love into my life and into my heart. I wanted to be able to accept positive attention into my life and into my heart. I wanted to be able to accept money and stability into my heart and not sabotage it. That was my biggest thing. And after I did this, this is when all of this stuff started coming up to the surface. Without divulging too much about my background, because I I never really made a video like this, like going into detail about my background and stuff, just because I feel like a lot of people, they don't really care. They just want to be nosy, and they just want to, they look at it as like tea, you know? And I'm not um I'm not what is it called? I'm no exception to this. When I see people crashing out online too, I don't necessarily laugh at them, but I definitely be like, oh my goodness, like that's crazy. I be all up in their business too. So I'm not saying this to make myself a victim, or oh, like I'm above it. No, I'm not. I be right there tuning into it too. But I do feel like you can be vulnerable with people without divulging too much, and I'm just gonna share what I'm comfortable sharing. I'm not gonna, go into a whole background about like all the bad things that happened to me, but I wrote a pre-written thing, so I don't say too much because it's still like very sensitive to me, and I don't want to start going on a tangent about what I'm mad about, so I'm just going to say my parent I grew up with, they basically had like a rag to riches type of story. Their background wasn't exactly great, and they ended up turning it around. But in the midst of them turning it around, I'm growing up with them, right? So this parent used to leave me with people they know they shouldn't have left me with, addicts, abusers. They would take me to parties with them when I was a very small child. I'm not talking like I was 10 or something. No, like I was 4, 5. And these horrible things happened to me. And after my parent had gotten their life together, they kind of acted like they didn't do any of that stuff. Like they didn't put me in harm's way, and they didn't basically like, neglect me. And so when I got older, I was very resentful to them. I feel like they wanted to talk about my feelings when it was too late, when I had already grown a lot of I won't even say disdain. I hated them, and they know this. I got in trouble for writing it in my journal. I got humiliated. The parent would basically get upset that I didn't take to them, even though they neglected me, and they always left this part out. So they would project a lot of things that I think they used to do in their teen years. Because I found out later, after I was out of their care, I found out a lot about them and their actual background. And like before having me, I basically was painted out to be a problem child, and I'm not saying I didn't act out a little bit. There were certain things that I would do, like I would lie to this person a lot. I would lie to them a lot, not about serious things, but like if I wanted to go spend time outside with my friends for an extra 30 minutes, I would lie and be like, oh, I was doing this or I was doing that. And it would jump from me doing that to you're out effing and you're out getting pregnant and you're out doing drugs, and this is stuff that is all easily like provable, right? And this person used to constantly invade my privacy and read my journals, read it to their friends, read it to their significant others. And I never said anything like that in there because I wasn't doing anything like that. And it got so bad to the point where this parent ended up taking me to a counselor, and the counselor would fall asleep during our sessions. That's how like that's how I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I was a perfect, well behaved child and I never acted out. But the things that I was accused of and the way that my behaviors were blown out of proportion, not even to people who it concerned, like teachers or the parent, it leaked out into their friendships. They would make fun of me for very vulnerable things, bad things, fun of me in front of people, I guess to make themselves feel better. There was just a lot of behaviors like that. And how I mentioned earlier, I ended up having a lot of friends that would be like, I'm just trying to help you. I'm your friend. And then they would turn around and tell my business and make fun of me and talk about me to people. It's the same pattern, right? So I ended up thinking about like my connection with this person. And I was like, this is kind of like very similar to the connection that I have with my parent and other people in my former family. Like it was like textbook behavior. Like this person would, be nice to me. They would do things for me financially, or they would spend a lot of time with me because they know that's what I wanted from them. I wanted to spend time with them and I wanted to get closer to them. And then I feel like when things got too real or too serious, they would not show up for me. And sometimes they would even blame me for not showing up for me by like deflecting or gaslighting me. It was just like the same thing that I dealt with in my childhood and later in my friendships and other relationships that I had. Because I thought that I had broken the cycle, like my parents used to leave me around all kinds of people they didn't know, people they knew they shouldn't have been leaving me around. They used to bring all of their partners around me. And then, magically when I'm however years old, like 10 years old, they're like, oh, well, this is your new parent now, so deal with it. All the stuff I did to you, all the people I brought around you, all of the things I exposed you to, we'll deal with it. Because this is what I want. This is my life now. And I thought that because I didn't go about it in that way and I isolated myself instead, I thought that I had broken the cycle. Like I did all of that only for me to later bring someone into my life who could have permanently taken me away from my child, all because I didn't heal my trauma. I think something that really helped me during this process was realizing that not all of the mistreatment was deliberate. And when I say that, I don't mean like, if somebody cheats on you, if somebody lies to you, somebody, purposely creates scenarios where they have an unfair power imbalance over you, that's deliberate. But I'm saying that these people are basically just moving through the world the best way that they know how to. And for them, that's not always with consideration of another person in mind. Some people, they just talk to people blindly and recklessly. Some people, they do these things blindly and they don't realize it until after. And again, I'm not even saying that they feel bad about their behavior after. I think a lot of them feel bad because I removed my access to them. I removed allowing them to have access to me. I think that's why a lot of them even reflected on their actions. So I'm not saying like, they had a bad background so that absolves them of everything. No, it doesn't. But it does help me feel better about, the things that happened to me, because I feel like with this last person, it really made it clear to me that the mistreatment that I experienced in the past, it was not because I am unlovable. It's not because I am a bad seed like I was talked about. It wasn't because any of these things. It was because I allowed myself to be mistreated by this person, and this person doesn't exactly have the I want to say the same level of integrity that I do, that they're gonna keep coming back around, and I can't even say the same level of integrity as I do, because I did the same thing over the past couple years, going back around people who I loved and I cared about, but I really knew that I could not have a connection with them because of certain things that they do that don't align with me. So I feel like it was just one of those situations, like, if you're gonna let me back in, I'm gonna keep doing this, because this is just how I operate. So I say all that to say, obviously this is not like a finished thing. I'm not healed, I'm not cured, but I do see the patterns to the point where it's uncomfortable for me to continue in this manner, acting like this meant nothing to me, and acting like, I don't understand why it's happening, because now I see it clearly. It's all been laid out in front of me, and now I really feel like my path has been cleared. What I choose to do from here on out, I will never be able to unsee the pattern, and I will never be able to feel comfortable in settling again. I see how it has affected people's lives, and this goes back to me saying, like, I'm not judging any of these people. I'm not looking down on them. It's just that I have seen what settling in your life does to people. Like, it can change the entire trajectory of your life if you let somebody around you who was never supposed to be around you, or you keep people around you who cannot meet you where you are. It can completely change the trajectory of your entire life. And I can't unsee that, and I can't act like I didn't see how that affected my life. Especially, it's been a year now since my domestic violence situation. And I was wondering, like, why am I so emotional about this? Like, it's been a year. I left it behind. I thought I was over it, but really I made peace with myself that me and this person could never be together, and that me and the connections from my past, we will never be the same, and it's for the best we never reconnect. But I didn't integrate the lesson, and that's why all of my anger and my rage and my numbness, it continued. But now I feel like, even though it's really hard, like I'm low-key like on the verge of tears, because it's just like, I can't believe that I couldn't see that, and I couldn't see what it was doing to myself, and how I was recreating the pattern. I wasn't breaking the curse. I was just repeating it in a different way. But that's another reason I wanted to make this video, because I feel like people think that spell work, when you just light the candle and it just fixes all your problems. No, it doesn't. It digs up a lot of this nasty stuff from the past, and these nasty feelings that you may have from the past. It makes you aware of things that you can no longer ignore if you want to get to the next level in your life. And that's the thing, like, I will never discount the help that Santa Muerte has given me, but a lot of the things that we do as devotees, that we do as spiritualists, sometimes, even if you're not particularly spiritual, we do a lot of things where we rely on things outside of ourselves to heal us, and really we have everything we need inside of us. Sometimes we just need, like, triggers or symbols of things in order to embody this, in order to integrate it. But that's pretty much all I have left to share. I will be posting the video on Friday, going into detail, like, about the spell, how I did it. I'm just warning you guys, though, like, I feel like, and I've even been guilty of this too before, people will ask you, like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know I can do my own spell, but I want to do it the way you did it, or I want to have the same results as you. And the thing about that is you will always get your best work doing your own spell, because nobody wants the thing you want as bad as you do. But I will post it, just for people who want to see it, or people who maybe they're not really familiar with spell work. I will be posting that on Friday, just so you guys can see the process of what I did. But that's all I have to say. I don't want to ramble on and on, but I thank you for watching, and don't live your life in stagnation.